80-year-old Bill McDowell denies murdering Reinie McCrae and Andrew, claiming he was elsewhere at the time and the crimes were carried out by Mrs. McCrae's former husband and others. The trial continues.
I'd like to ask you about Friday the 12th of November 1976. Did your mother ever make any reference to something which may have occurred on that night?
Yes, she heard a blood-curdling scream.
The Crown theory is that the accused killed Reinie McCrae and Andrew in a lay-by.
Dalmagary lay-by. This is a lay-by where Reinie McCrae's BMW car was found on fire.
As far as the defence are concerned, there is very limited evidence that proves that Mr. McDowell went to that lay-by. Perhaps somebody else was involved.
Reinie McCrae and his 3-year-old son Andrew drove away from this bungalow and disappeared off the face of the earth.
Well, she was happy. She was going away with the man she loved.
This is the man in Reinie's life, William McDowell.
William McDowell.
William David McDowell states, "I deny any association with Mrs. McCrae."
I knew, nobody else knew. He didn't know I knew.
There have been extensive inquiries to try and recover the bodies.
There's never been a single thing found anywhere.
Strictly speaking, this is a disappearance, is it not?
I would regard it as a murder investigation.
It'll be devastating if they don't get at least a little justice for them.
In a case where you do not have a body, you have to establish that they are dead. But then the next hurdle is, well, how do we know that death was as a result of murder and that the accused was responsible?
This is one of these rare murder trials where there are no bodies. The Crown rely on circumstantial evidence. From the defence perspective, do we concede that Reinie and Andrew McCrae have disappeared? Yes, we do. Do we concede that they've been murdered? No, we don't.
In order to establish death, the police will conduct what is known as a proof of life inquiry, and that is a very extensive inquiry.
Advocate Deputy.
Thank you, my lord. The first witness today is Detective Constable Martin Murphy. It's very difficult to exist, certainly in modern society, without any trace whatsoever, and that inquiry covers everything. There's no doubt in my mind that Reinie McCrae and Andrew McCrae are not alive. Could you have before you, please, Crown Production number 27? Is that a report which is headed up Police Scotland Proof of Life Report?
That's correct.
This extensive inquiry which has been conducted to date has evidenced the following. Could you just take us through that list slowly, please?
Reinie and Andrew McCrae were last seen on the 12th of November 1976. She has not made contact with either her friends or family. Reinie and Andrew have never contributed to the income tax or national insurance system, have not applied for a UK passport, have not applied for benefits. Reinie and Andrew have not sought any NHS medical assistance. There is no record of Reinie and Andrew having changed her name by deed poll. It is felt that the information in this report leads to one conclusion, namely that there is no proof Reinie and Andrew are alive.
Thank you very much.
Mr. McCarra.
Thank you, my Lord. You mentioned that you don't have any particular training in compiling reports such as this, but you have experience of missing person inquiries.
Yes, that's correct.
How many other reports have you produced that in your 21 years service that's similar to this report?
None to this extent, sir.
Well, how many other reports of a less extensive nature have you prepared?
Well, none like this.
Well, have you produced any other reports prior to this report?
No.
I just want to understand what the limitations are in this report. You really can't even begin to start carrying out these inquiries in relation to somebody who has gone out of their way to obtain a false identity, can you?
No.
Because you just don't know what identity that person might have assumed.
That's correct.
We are no further forward now than we were when we started at the beginning of this inquiry, so far as hard facts are concerned.
We realised that in 1976, 1977, and indeed later, the police had interviewed hundreds of witnesses who, in 2022, the Crown didn't regard as having any value whatsoever. Witnesses, for example, who had purported to see Reinie and Andrew McCrae subsequent to the 12th of November 1976. Could I ask you to look at entry 17, please?
A statement was obtained from witness Hazel Strachan regarding a potential sighting of Reinie and Andrew McCrae around mid-November 1976 in Holland Street, Aberdeen. Witness states that she is almost positive that the female was Reinie McCrae, but this is not assessed as a positive identification.
So almost positive isn't good enough. Is that right?
Well, according to that, yes.
Could I ask you to look at 27, please?
A statement was obtained from the witness Ruth Coghill regarding potential sighting of Reinie McCrae at Kyle train station on Tuesday, 16th of 11th, 1976. She described her as 5 foot to 5 foot 2 inches, with fair shoulder-length hair with a pushchair. In her opinion, the woman was similar in appearance to a photograph she had seen in the press of Reinie McCrae.
So that's been eliminated?
Yes.
Is that correct? 38, please. Perhaps I could read it. A statement was obtained from witness John McIntosh regarding potential sighting of Reinie and Andrew McCrae on Tuesday, 16/11/76 at Calacan Ferry Landing. He saw a man, woman and young child. The reason I'm drawing this to your attention, does it not appear as if entries 27 and 38 are linked? Does that not strengthen the possibility that this is indeed a true sighting?
It would do, yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you very much.
Advocate.
No, thank you, my lord.
From the defence perspective, this case is about the disappearance of Reinie and Andrew McCrae and not their murder. If the jury accept that Reinie and Andrew McCrae didn't die on the 12th of November 1976 but merely disappeared, then clearly Mr McDowell's not guilty because he's charged with committing a murder.
The Crown case says that Mr McDowell is responsible for the assault and murder of Reinie and Andrew, and there are a number of circumstances which all combined together, I suggest, present a fairly compelling body of evidence. Valerie Stevenson's evidence was pivotal to our case.
I am the only one that Reinie told, and he denied having an affair with Reinie. But he didn't know that I knew, and if he knew that I knew, perhaps Reinie would be alive today, and Andrew. So I'm living in hope with everything crossed that justice will be done. Late, but done.
Over the years, I've written about this case, I don't know how many times. Val Stevenson, a great friend of Reinie, a confidant of Reinie, It's such a pity. It must be devastating for her not to be able to speak up for her friend.
Are you Ruth Mason?
I am.
Have you learned that, for medical reasons, Valerie Stevenson is not able to give evidence?
I have, yes.
Yes. Could you then read for me typed statements taken in 1976? Thank you.
I have known Reinie McCrae since I was 5 years old.
Now, before she disappeared, how often did you see her?
Oh, Reinie used to come down to our house perhaps 2, 3, 4 times a week, and I'd pop up to her.
And would you say that you knew her as well as anybody?
Yes, I think I did. Having grown up together and lived so close to one another for so long, then I think I knew her as well as anybody did.
In 1971, Reinie told me that Gordon, her husband, was friendly with another woman. Sometime later, Reinie phoned me at my house in a state of anguish. I would say that she had been drinking. She was not a heavy drinker. 2 small martinis would affect her. She said that she had done something terrible and asked me to come over and see her. She was crying and looked very depressed. She said that there was some other man in her life and that this person was Andrew's father. I suspected all along that McDowell was Andrew's father because of the facial likeness. Reinie told me that her affair with McDowell started about 4 years before at a party in Inverness. She did not hide the fact she was then deeply in love with McDowell.
Pause there, please. Could you turn over the page and carry on?
About July 1976, she told me that McDowell had suggested to her that the 2 of them and her 2 sons should emigrate. I would like to mention here that Reinie often said to me that McDowell was often asking her if she had told anyone about their affair. She said that she always assured him that she had not, and apparently he accepted this as the truth. About August 1976, Reinie visited me at home. She was very excited, and I would say a wee bit nervous. As soon as she came into the house, she said, "Guess what, Val? Bill's got a job in Shetland, and the 4 of us are going."
He told her that he had a job with Texaco Oil, and there was a provided house for them waiting in Shetland. Reinie even described the house to me.
She told me that it had a veranda, a huge kitchen, and an old-fashioned type range cooker installed.
Arrangements were made by McDowell, or so she thought. The household goods were going by boat, and Reinie and Bill McDowell and the boys were going to fly to Shetland.
And how soon was this supposed to be in relation to the weekend when she disappeared?
This was to happen the following weekend.
William McDowell had embarked on a massive deception on Reinie McCrae by pretending he was going to set up a new life with her. And it became obvious then to me that this relationship was coming to a point where it really had to end, because there was no job in Shetland and Reinie McCrae was poised and ready to go. The next paragraph, please, and bear in mind that we need to hear this loudly and slowly, please.
The week before she went missing, he told her that he had booked a self-contained chalet in the Rannoch area for Friday 12th and Saturday 13th November 1976.
Were you surprised by this?
I was surprised they were going away that particular weekend, considering they were going for good the following weekend.
I mentioned this to her, and she said that McDowell wanted a rest before he took on his new job. I made some remark to her then to the effect that they wouldn't get much of a rest if they took little Andrew with them.
It seemed an odd thing to take little Andrew away with them. Did you say anything about little Andrew going away with them?
I offered to keep him, but Reinie said that Bill McDowell had insisted that little Andrew go because he wanted to get to know him.
Reinie repeated that McDowell insisted on taking him with them.
This empty sitting room, containing reminders of Andrew's birthday, days before he disappeared, is a tangible reminder that police are almost certain the McCraes are dead, more than likely murdered. Andrew's winter clothes waiting on his bed show that the McCraes were planning to return, and his jumble of teddy bears and toys are ready for packing. All through the house, there's evidence that Reinie was planning to start a new life somewhere else.
Reinie obviously did not believe everything McDowell told her. As a matter of fact, she often said to me, "I'm sure something will happen and that he won't go."
Perhaps it's in her own bedroom that Reinie McCrae becomes more than just a statistic, where a pair of winter boots lie exactly where she threw them in a hurry to leave that day. She was heading for a weekend with her lover, Bill McDowell, an appointment he says he never kept. And in the kitchen, covered with fingerprint dust, more evidence of packing. Curdling milk adds a Marie Celeste touch.
The false promises, the belief by Reinie that she was going to a new life, all of that combined to suggest that matters were coming to a head.
All right, thank you very much.
So the Crown theory is that they met and that he took the most drastic of actions to resolve what he saw was the problem by killing Reinie McCrae, and unfortunately, that would mean the death of young Andrew as well.
Mr. McCrae?
Yes, thank you, Lord.
Could I just ask you to read the very last part of that statement, starting with the words, "Reinie never said"?
Reinie never said of her experiencing any aggressive or violent behaviour from Bill McDowell. She was in love with him and spoke fondly of him. She didn't need to say anything. She had his baby and loved him.
Yes, thank you very much, Mrs. Mason.
Thank you.
Powerful stuff from Val Stevenson, and it's so sad that Reinie was suckered into this pack of lies over a period of months, which tends to suggest that he might have been planning this for a long time. Not over a few days, not over a few hours, but over a few months. Does that suggest that the man was so callous that he was planning to kill his own son many, many weeks before they disappeared? And the jury are going to have to believe that if they're going to convict.
Deputy.
Thank you, my lord. The next witness is Patricia Ann Brown. In looking at a circumstantial case, and this case in particular, the conduct of the accused on the day of the disappearance is significant in my view. It seems to me there's an element of planning, and all of that was done in a manner which I think suggests premeditated murder. In 1976, what was your occupation?
I was the secretary to Gordon McCrae, with occasionally working for Mr. McDowell as well.
Right. Was that William McDowell?
Yes.
Was he known as Bill?
I would have called him Mr. McDowell.
I see.
Yeah, it was that kind of a relationship.
Indeed. Would you recognise Mr. McDowell after all this time?
Yes, I do.
Do you see him today? If you do, just point to him, please.
He's
seated between the two security officers, is that correct? All right.
I always found Bill McDowell to be a pleasant man. I had no reason to dislike him or anything. I can completely understand why Reinie McCrae would like Bill McDowell. He was a very plausible man. He was good looking, And I can just definitely see that she would have had a sparkle with him. Yeah, he was a nice man, but he was a married man and 2 children. When I did work for Mr. McDowell, I never, ever in my wildest dreams would have thought he was capable of murdering his mistress and a 3-year-old son.
I'd like to ask you about the events of Friday, the 12th of November 1976. Were you working that day?
Yes, I was.
Did Mr. McDowell ask you to carry out a task for him that day?
Yes, he asked me to make a reservation at a restaurant called Lafayette Restaurant in Inverness for 8 o'clock.
That evening, is that correct?
That evening.
That's
yes.
Friday,
yes.
12th November 1976.
McDowell's activities, movements that day, they were well covered in that initial investigation. Understanding what William McDowell was up to that day was key to try and prove a case. So we're here at what was the McCrae's headquarters, and obviously where William McDowell worked. He was here pretty much as normal on the day in question. This booking of a restaurant for him and his wife, very vocal about him and his wife going out that night and wanting to book a restaurant, planting the seed that he's got plans that night and they've got nothing to do with Reinie and Andrew McCrae. So he booked a restaurant, phoned his wife, told her that he couldn't get a table, couldn't get a booking, even though the booking had already been made. So you've got a discrepancy there already.
Did you receive an internal call at some point?
I did.
Who was that from?
Bill McDowell.
What did he want?
He wanted me to cancel a booking for dinner for the Lafayette, the French restaurant in Inverness, for that evening.
Did you do that?
I did, yes.
You cancelled the booking for the Friday night?
Yes.
Thank you.
Like most of the workforce, William McDowell left at the end of the day around 6 p.m. And again, another anomaly comes into play where he made it clear he was going to go for a few drinks at the Mercury Motor Inn with colleagues. Not something he usually did. Why is he doing that?
Had Bill McDowell ever joined your company in these circumstances before?
Not that I recall, no. It was most unusual.
Most unusual. How did he appear to you?
Agitated, I think, is probably the best way to put it.
Could you look, please, at Crown Production number 94? Does it say this? 2 or 3 times he said he was going to go out with his wife at 7 o'clock. The first time he mentioned this was when he came into the bar and joined us. Is that what it says in the statement?
Correct.
Did Mr. McDowell leave at some point?
It was round about 7.
It had all the appearance of a staged alibi, that he made a point of referring to times and to meeting his wife, whereas we know he wasn't going to meet his wife, he was going to meet Reinie McCrae.
You've mentioned that it was particularly unusual for Mr. McDowell to join you, and indeed you don't have a recollection of him joining you on any other occasion.
Correct.
Is that correct? How long was this routine in place to meet up at the Mercury Motor Inn?
Specifically, I don't recall.
You can't assist in casting your mind back to the 1970s?
I can't specifically, no.
Very well, thank you. The biggest challenge is the age of the case, because with the passage of time, memories fade, perhaps are modified. My task ultimately in this case is to convince the jury that they have a reasonable doubt as to what the Crown have proved and what they haven't proved.
We'll adjourn, ladies and gentlemen. 10 o'clock tomorrow.
I feel it's just such a long time ago. People can't remember things. They get a bit mixed up. I feel that will go against us. There was a few things that I hadn't heard about before. You know, to sit down and plan what you're going to do, it's just unbelievable. You've got to think, it wasn't a spur of the moment thing. He knew exactly where he was going to put them. To go to that length for I mean, what for? Valerie told me that Andrew was calling him Daddy, you know, so I think that it was getting to the stage that Andrew was getting older and he was frightened that somebody would hear, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Andrew gets talked about enough. He had only turned 3. He was only 3 the month before. It's just a wee boy, I mean, full of mischief. But no, he was a lovely wee boy.
Did you ever think about
Now, there is no direct evidence putting Mr. McDowell in the lay-by committing the act. So proof of this will be achieved only by the jury drawing reasonable inferences from the surrounding evidence.
What?
And there are a number of sources of evidence placing Mr. McDowell in the lay-by at the critical time. We'd like to ask you about an event in 1976.
Yes, it was on Saturday, the night of this dreadful happening, and we were going home.
You were travelling on the A9.
Yes.
Can you help us as to when that was?
It was slightly after 7:30, and I saw a Volvo car.
Did you notice the driver of the car?
Yes, I thought it was Mr. McDowell.
I'm sorry?
I thought it was Mr. McDowell.
Did you know what kind of car Mr. McDowell had at the time?
Yes, it was my favourite car, that's why. It was a Volvo.
A Volvo? As you approached on the A9, did you notice something?
Yes, I noticed what I recognised as Reinie McCrae's blue BMW.
The defence need to examine, challenge, perhaps even contradict that circumstantial evidence. Can you remember what the weather was like that night?
As I recall, it was dark, but it wasn't raining.
Did your route take you past the Dalmagary lay-by?
Yes, it did.
Did you see anything in the lay-by?
Yes, there were 2 vehicles. The first one was a pale-coloured BMW, and the second one was a Volvo.
A Volvo?
Yeah.
Could you tell us slowly, in your own words, what it was you saw?
Well, it was a very, very bad night. Water was washing across the road. An atrocious night, really. And I noticed somebody walking towards me, pushing a pushchair. I thought it was very unusual for anybody to be out in such awful conditions with a child.
What you remember is a journey on a night which you describe as atrocious. The weather was very poor. It was a wet night.
Yes, that's correct.
At the lay-by, as I came round the corner, there was the person at the driver's side door, and his head was down.
Could you see if there was someone in the car?
Yes, I saw a person in the car and a child.
Mrs. Wilson, first of all, do you have a recollection of what the weather was like that evening?
Yes, it was a fine evening, as far as I remember.
Had it been raining at any stage during your journey that night?
Not to my knowledge. No, I can't remember.
Various witnesses gave a different account of the weather that night, and they can't all be right. And if they can't all be right about the weather, does that not call into question the reliability in relation to other aspects?
Thank you, my Lord. I move to recall Crown Witness Detective Chief Inspector Ryan Geddes.
Thank you.
We don't actually know precisely what happened in the lay-by. We have to be careful not to speculate, but there is a basis for saying that some violent event took place. I don't know the mechanism of death because we've never recovered their remains.
On Friday, 12th November 1976, my husband and I travelled on the A9 driving very slowly because it was a wet, foggy night. I recall at a short distance along the road, I saw, in the headlights of our car, what appeared to be a couple with a pushchair. But as we got closer, I saw only a man and the pushchair. Whatever was on the pushchair was overhanging the sides of the pushchair. As we were almost opposite, the man, he turned his head and looked straight at me. His eyes were wide and staring, and this wasn't a natural stare. It was caused through fear or panic. I may have seen more, but for the fact that this man's staring eyes frightened me, and I looked away.
All right, thank you. If the jury are able to conclude that William McDowell was with Reinie McCrae when she died, then they would be able to go on and look at his conduct in the aftermath of that. Thank you, my lord. The next witness is Stuart Lindsay. Okay. Bear in mind, there was this huge police inquiry trying to discover the whereabouts of Reinie and Andrew. The conduct of the accused is highly suspicious. In 1976, where were you working?
I was working in Inverness with the Glasgow Herald.
Was one of the stories which you covered the disappearance of Reinie McCrae and her son Andrew McCrae?
It was.
Was there a lot of publicity given to their disappearance?
A great deal.
The police hunt continues, and in the Scottish press, the McCrae mystery is seldom off the front pages for long.
The whole story about her affair with Bill McDowell, that didn't come out until 8 days after her disappearance. We all went hot foot out to his house, and there he was, large as life. He stood there fielding questions with his wife beside him and as cool as a cucumber. We asked him if he had in fact been having an affair with Mrs. McCrae, and he confirmed that he had. He also volunteered the information that he didn't think they were dead. And he then explained to us that while he was having the affair with Mrs. McCrae, when she wanted to get in touch with him, she used to phone him and let the phone ring 2 times and ring off. And when he heard the phone ringing like that, he knew to get in touch with her. And he said that this phone signalling system they had happened twice since her disappearance. The first thing that came into my mind was that this is the only evidence we've heard for the last 10 days that this woman is alive. And I said to him right away, "Have you told the police this?" And he said, "It must have slipped my mind."
It must have slipped my mind.
It must have slipped my mind.
So if we just think for a moment that he's maintaining effectively she's still alive when there's a massive police inquiry looking for her and he doesn't tell the police about it. That seems an extraordinary thing to me.
Mr. McCarroll, no cross, thank you, my lord.
That story does stick in your mind. And I always made a point whenever I wrote about it. It was the disappearance of a little boy, you know. Dreadful.
We're now approaching the end of the Crown case, but there's one key moment after the disappearance I will suggest is highly significant and help the jury conclude that William McDowell is responsible for concealing the whereabouts of the bodies. In 1976, did you work in auto sales of Inverness as a car salesman?
I did, yeah.
Did you have a customer known to you as Bill McDowell?
I did, yes.
Did he have a Volvo?
He did, yes.
That's a photograph of the car.
The car, yeah. I've been a car salesman
since 1971 till present time. I sold the car to Mr. McDowell. It was a Volvo Estate, top of the range at the time. Then one day he came in to me.
When he came in, just tell us what it is he said to you.
He said, I need a new boot floor for my car.
Was that an unusual request?
It was, yes.
Did you look at the boot?
I did, yeah.
What did you see?
There was nothing there. Floor was removed.
Floor was removed?
Yeah.
So he didn't bring the floor?
No, I asked him where the floor was, and he said to me they'd burnt it.
They burnt it?
Yes.
Did he say what had happened to it?
Yeah, he said he was building a house and he was throwing building material in the back and it ruined the floor. This is a car of the similar type. This is the floor part which was completely missing. As you can see, it's very strong and it would take a lot to damage that. Even in a car accident, the floor would survive. Very unusual. I'd never seen it then, I haven't seen it now. And I said, I will go and see about getting a new floor then at the parts department. So they said they can get one, but it'll be a month before we can get it. So he went a bit ballistic. He was shouting and bawling and said, I want a floor now and I'm a good customer, blah, blah, blah. I want, give me a floor now.
So he left, having heard this from you?
He left that day, yes.
What happened then?
And he came back on the Saturday and he was in a better frame of mind. And then we agreed to give him a floor out of one of our cars.
Right. Thank you. That seems to me highly significant because it suggests that he's disposing of that floor for a reason, to remove a link with the crime, to prevent the lining being examined forensically.
Now, Advocate Depute.
Lord, I formally close the Crown case.
I turn now to Mr McCara to ascertain the defence position.
Well, Lord, I certainly intend leading evidence to some extent. I wonder if your Lordship might grant an adjournment perhaps until tomorrow morning to allow me to consider my position.
Very well. We'll adjourn until tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Thank you. Mr McCara.
Lord, I do not intend calling Mr McDowell to give evidence, but I am intending to lead some other defence evidence. We'd made a decision not to call Mr McDowell as a witness because he is very, very unwell and unfortunately he's not in a position to give evidence. Could I call Dr Alfred Gamblin, please, my lord? My task is to go to the jury and present them with the defence case and to suggest there's a gap in the Crown case. We're suggesting there's a mystery in the Crown case. Are you Alfred Gamblin?
Yes, I am.
Were you a GP in Inverness in 1976?
I was.
And would it be correct in saying that, in fact, you knew Reinie McCrae?
Yes, I knew Reinie.
Did you know her both professionally and socially?
Yes, I knew her in both parts.
Did you tell the police about something that had come to your attention prior to Reinie McCrae's disappearance?
Well, at the time, there was an announcement either in the press or in the media asking for people if they recognised somebody who had been seen recently in company of Reinie McCrae.
All right, I wonder if I could ask you to pause at this point while the Mesa puts on the document imager. What you're seeing is an identikit image that I understand was issued by the police in November 1976.
She was seen in the town of Inverness by a neighbour in the company of this man, actually in her car. And we've had further information from another person that late in October, this man was also seen with Mrs. McCrae in her car in the outskirts of the town.
And his outstanding feature is this so-called Mexican moustache.
This gaucho moustache is his outstanding feature.
Now, what I would like to do is just to rewind so that you can describe the incident as you remember it.
Yes, I can remember exactly. It's haunted me, throughout my life. I remember there was a car parked at the front door of the practice, an expensive car in a pastel blue sort of colour.
Was there anyone in the car?
There was.
And as far as you're concerned, the man in this car was similar to the man in the image that was put in the document imager?
Yes, exactly.
Was there anyone in the practice when you went in?
There were 2 people in the waiting room.
Who were the 2 people?
Reinie McCrae was one, and her son Andrew was the other.
She was the only patient in the waiting room?
She was the only patient there, and I understand the only patient in the building.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Gamblin.
Advocate Deputy.
No, thank you, my lord. There is evidence of a man with a moustache being in the company of Reinie McCrae from time to time. We're not really certain who that man was, but against that, I say, there's a powerful body of evidence involving Mr. McDowell.
The doctor was a patently honest witness. He had clearly seen a man with a Mexican moustache in Reinie McCrae's car. But this is a man that the Crown would rather forget about because he doesn't fit into their view of the case. Did you know Reinie McCrae?
Yes.
Where was it that you saw her car?
Outside Morrison the Baker's.
And who was it you saw in the vehicle?
There's a gentleman with a black Mexican moustache and a young child in the back seat.
But whose car was it you saw?
Reinie McCrae's.
No question about that?
No question about that.
This man did exist. There's no question that this man existed. And it's a gap in the Crown case. It's a mystery to this day who this man was. And as long as that mystery exists, there must be a doubt about whether Mr. McDowell was responsible for the murder of Reinie and Andrew.
The closing speech is important, and delivery of it's important, and especially in a circumstantial case, a speech is designed to draw together the various strands of evidence which I say point towards guilt.
From the defence perspective, it's necessary to try to persuade the jury that this case simply hasn't proved. You have to present it in a fashion that you think is going to be persuasive.
It's always very difficult to know what the jury will make of all this. And I always keep in mind that there is a family with a loss, and I take that responsibility very seriously. Those first few moments when you're sitting there, knowing the judge is about to ask you to go and speak to the jury, that's a very heavy pause.
Now going to invite the Advocate Depute to address you on behalf of the Crown. Advocate Depute.
May it please the court? Suddenly I will find myself facing 15 strangers, and that's quite a daunting thought. A blood-curdling scream in the dark. I suggest that was the last utterance of Reinie McCrae while alive.
That's nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. The defence do not concede that these crimes took place at all, certainly not by Mr. McDowell. Killing Reinie McCrae and his only son Andrew is a gross overreaction, so grotesque as to be absurd. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to spend a few moments talking about the proof of life report.
The Crown never has to prove a motive, but I suggest there is one here. It is obvious that once the affair was out in the open, life for William McDowell would change dramatically. He would lose his
It's a pretty dramatic solution to potential problems that you're going to kill your only son. If that is being put forward as a motive on Mr. McDowell's part, he must be a cold-hearted, callous psychopath. And yet, Reinie McCrae told Valerie Stevenson he was never violent towards her.
Nobody would have known anything about any of this were it not for that close friendship between Valerie Stevenson and Reinie McCrae. Reinie McCrae, I suggest, genuinely believed that she was about to embark on a new life with William McDowell in Shetland because of the lies that William McDowell told her.
What this shows about William McDowell is he told lies. Now, he's not on trial for being a liar, he's on trial for being a murderer. And he has an explanation as to why he lied to her, because he was afraid of what she was going to do to herself.
You will recall the evidence of Stuart Lindsay, the retired journalist. And Mr. McDowell told Mr. Lindsay that he thought Reinie and Andrew were alive. Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, Andrew, his son, is missing. And when asked if he had reported this matter to the police, he said, "It must have slipped my mind." It's a deceit. It's a deceit in the wake of death, I suggest.
It is speculation. It has always been speculation. Events of the 12th of November 1976 have been described as a mystery. It is still a mystery, ladies and gentlemen.
I ask you to look at all the evidence. The blood found in Reinie McCrae's BMW boot. The blood was of a significant quantity. A Volvo had been seen next to the BMW in the Layby. The Volvo boot floor was removed and burnt. William McDowell burnt it, destroyed it completely. Does that not then place a sinister complexion on this unusual conduct? And that conduct, I suggest, ladies and gentlemen, would entitle you to conclude that the only just verdict in this case is one of guilty.
William McDowell has suffered 45 years of suspicion. He is now a dying man. Murder is the most serious crime that any individual can be accused of committing. Take your time in considering all the evidence. There are no eyewitnesses to this. There's no medical or pathological evidence. There are no bodies. Reach your own conclusions without indulging in unfounded, unvouched speculation. I'm inviting you to find Mr. McDowell not guilty of these charges. Thank you for your attention.
Did McDowell do it? Did he kill Reinie and Andrew? It's not going to be easy for the jury. If they have a reasonable doubt, they must acquit. It's literally on a knife edge.
I'm hoping that we're going to get justice for Reinie and Andrew. I don't know how I'll feel if we don't. Everything points to McDowell, and he's been living his life for all these years. I don't show my feelings a lot, but no. I get up, I'm up in the middle of the night quite often. I'll go into the kitchen, make myself a cup of tea, and from the kitchen window, I can see cars going up the E9. If it's dark, you could see the cars going up it. It's just on the other side of where you see the houses. And I often look out the window and I just think, wish something could come to me that would tell me where maybe they were or something like that. Yes. And it's far worse now than it was, because when you get older, You have more time to think about things.
A jury has been told it would be grotesque to suggest a man on trial for the murders of his lover and their young son could be a callous killer. Defence counsel Murray McCarra KC described the deaths of Mrs McCrae and 3-year-old Andrew as a mystery with many unanswered questions.
It's never too late to get justice. But the age of the case can just naturally bring doubt into it. For the sake of, everybody that's worked on it over the last 46 years, and most importantly, the family and friends of Reinie and Andrew, we want nothing more than this to go our way and a conviction to be passed.
Well now, ladies and gentlemen, you've now heard all of the evidence and you've heard the speeches for the Crown and for the defence. Now, the three verdicts open to you are not guilty, or not proven, or guilty. Now, the first two, not guilty and not proven, have exactly the same effect, which is one of acquittal. And the effect of these two verdicts is that, except in the most exceptional circumstances, William McDowell could not be tried on these charges again. I'm going to invite you now to retire and to begin your deliberations. Thank you.
Morning. Hello. Hello again. Good to see you. Good. Hello. There's a body of evidence before the jury which, as the judge said, would entitle them to convict.
Yes.
Now, we have to wait and see how long they'll take, and I do appreciate the anxiety and anguish you've had to suffer for a long time.
For a long time, yes.
Yeah.
But I just hope we get the right result now. We'll just have to sit and wait and
Excuse the court, please.
Every time that dong goes over.
In the High Court of Justiciary, in Court Number 1, His Majesty's Advocate against William David McDowell. This is a verdict.
It would be wrong to say there were no nerves about it. Of course there are. You always think about whether you should have done something differently or in another way or led something else. I want a proper outcome for the case, and I want to be able to look at the family in the eye and say we did our best.
Members of the jury, has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes.
What is the verdict in respect of the accused William David McDowell on charge 1 on the indictment as libelled?
Guilty.
Is that unanimous or by a majority?
By a majority.
What is your verdict in respect of the accused William David McDowell on charge 2 on the indictment as libelled?
Guilty.
Is that unanimous or by a majority?
By a majority.
And what is the verdict in respect of the accused William David McDowell on charge 3 on the indictment as libelled?
Guilty.
Is that unanimous or by a majority?
By a majority.
Very well. William David McDowell, you have been convicted of the murders of Reinie McCrae and her young son, Andrew. These murders appear to have been premeditated, planned, and carried out by you in the most calculating way. These appear to have been, in effect, executions. In the result, therefore, I impose a punishment part in respect of your life sentence in total of 30 years. That is all.
Mrs. McDowell, did you help your husband get away with murder for 46 years? What do you want to say to them, Mrs. McDowell? What do you want to say to Reinie and Andrew's family? Do you know where they are? Do you feel any remorse, Rosemary? Do you feel bad today?
I'm just so pleased with the family. That's a verdict they had hoped for, and it's a resolution of the case which has been unresolved for so long.
Almost 46 years on, the pain of losing Reinie and Andrew never fades. Today, there is final justice for them. It's a day we feared would never come. They were both so precious to us, and a day never passes without them both in our thoughts. The passage of time has not eased the anguish we feel. Not knowing where the remains lie only compounds the pain. We will never comprehend why their lives had to be taken in such a calculated and callous manner by William McDowell. If he has a shred of decency in his body, he will now reveal where they both lie.